What's up, it's Marco, Sage Soccer, and today I want to give my predictions for the U.S. Men's National Team World Cup qualifying roster for the, Ultimate Games in March. This is going to be a really tough window, and we are going to need to be at our best. And I want to say going into this is predictions for the roster. This is not what I would bring, this is me trying to predict what Berhalter will bring to the squad. And before I get into it, I should say I'm assuming injuries to at least 5 players, those being Matt Turner, Zach Steffen, Weston McKennie, Chris Richards, and Giovanni Reyna. I believe that all those guys will be unavailable due to injury. I think Gianluca Busio will be available, and maybe some other guys. But those 5 are going to be out, so I'm not going to be talking about them. But just getting into the squad, first thing we've got goalkeepers, and this is a big team. Normally, when I do the team that I would bring, I cut it down to 23 because I feel like that's necessary. But for these ones, I'm going to go with what I think we'll bring in. I feel like this is going to be a big team. I actually have 4 goalkeepers. Those are Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, Brad Guzan, and Gabriel Slonina. So Horvath and Johnson, self-explanatory for why they're here. Horvath, great in the Nations League. Sean Johnson has been our 3rd goalkeeper throughout World Cup qualifying. I feel like they'll both be there. Hopefully Ethan Horvath will start, but I don't feel like Johnson will cause any alarms if he's in net. Brad Guzan has been called up to the Gold Cup as our 3rd goalkeeper. I believe he's ahead of guys like Bill Hamid, Tony Meola, and Gabriel Slonina has been called up before as well, and I believe he'll stay in the team, but I don't want him to be the 3rd goalkeeper because worst case scenario, red card, injury, Slonina has to go into net, and I don't want to put a young player into that situation, especially after seeing David Ochoa in Olympic qualifying where he just completely screwed up. It might have soured his experience to the USA team as a whole and made him leave. So I don't want Slonina playing at all. If we bring him, it's fine. I think we will bring him, but he should not see the field. Now going into center back, and we are missing Chris Richards, who is our best center back in my opinion, and probably has been our best center back for a couple of years, but management's like a year behind. But anyway, for this team, we've got an MLS trio of Miles Robinson, Walker Zimmerman, and Aaron Long alongside Mark McKenzie. Robinson and Zimmerman have both been constant throughout this World Cup qualifying cycle, even though Berhalter dropped Zimmerman from a squad before bringing him back in and then making him start, which is definitely one of the weirder things. Speaking of weird, why was Tim Ream dropped from the squad? I'm not arguing for him to be back. I don't have him on this team, but he was not playing at all, and then he was called into the Nations League, and then he starts playing and doing pretty well in the championship, and we don't play him at all. And it's not like the championship is such a bad level. Antonee Robinson starts for us every single game, so I don't know. I just want to throw that out there. I don't think John Brooks is in the team. I think Berhalter is going to die on that hill. Hopefully he doesn't end up dying on the hill, and hopefully we can qualify, but yeah, Robinson, Zimmerman, pretty easy decisions. Aaron Long, he's going to be back. I mean, everybody knows it. We've brought him into this team for the past few camps. He's this amazing player that we need in the squad, and he's not that good. Mark McKenzie took his spot in last June. Aaron Long's such a weird player for us to be this invested in, but I don't know. There's a good chance he starts, in my opinion, because Miles Robinson hasn't been playing the best lately. I guess he's going with Zimmerman and Long. And Mark McKenzie, he's been in the team. Mark McKenzie, I think of him kind of like how I think of George Bello, where it's I see the potential. I think he can be a really good player. Mark McKenzie, he's a great athlete. He's really technical on the ball. He can make some good passes, but you watch him, and he's not ready for the national team level, which sucks because I love his intangibles, and I could see him being a long-term partner for Chris Richards because he 2-footed, great on the ball, good athlete, good in the air. He's everything that you want out of a center back, but I think there's something mental that has to click, and it hasn't yet. And that keeps McKenzie behind Walker Zimmerman, who, just looking at them, I don't know, in everything except how they actually play, Mark McKenzie should be better than Walker Zimmerman, but he's not. I hope you guys know what I mean by that, but Mark McKenzie's going to be on the squad despite not playing at all in Belgium. which sucks because we're missing John Brooks, we're missing Chris Richards, Cameron Carter-Vickers has been playing out of his mind. Even Eric Palmer-Brown has been pretty good, but yeah, I feel like those are the 4 guys we're going to go with. Now to fullback, and I feel like this is easier to predict. It's going to be very similar. Sergiño, Dest, Reggie Cannon, DeAndre Yedlin, Antonee Robinson, and I'm going to go with Dejuan Jones. Sergiño Dest, he's been playing very well lately. He needs to be starting. Antonee Robinson, he's been solid. I probably have higher expectations for him than other people do. I haven't been too impressed, but he's definitely a starter for this team. Reggie Cannon is somebody who gets like a lot more hate than I think he does. Like, he's a good player. Like, and I just want to say, like, people are criticizing, like, Luca De La Torre, Cameron Carter-Vickers, like, oh, they'd be in the team if they didn't turn down the Gold Cup call-up. Well, the only reason why Reggie Cannon hasn't been playing at all is because he went to the Gold Cup, just skipped all the preseason he had with Boa Vista, pushed for a move, didn't work out, and now he's finally starting to play again. Like, I think you'd say that he made the wrong decision this summer going to the Gold Cup, and it's benefited Luca De La Torre, and it's benefited Cameron Carter-Vickers, but I don't know, I just want to throw that out there. DeAndre Yedlin, like, he is who he is at this point. He's the Kellyn Acosta of the fullback position, where he can do a job, but he's probably inconsistent, which you really wouldn't expect out of a veteran, and he's only going to be so good. I would prefer Joe Scaley in the team, but Yedlin's in the squad at this point. Left back, Dejuan Jones, I'm pretty excited about because I feel like he's been a very good player for a while. I don't think he's underrated anymore. I think people understand how good he is. Good athlete, can get up and down the field, very solid defensively, was part of that great New England team. Like, he's going to be a good player. I think he gets called up because, well, Sam Vines and George Bella both moved abroad, and because they're testing themselves, they haven't been playing as much, and we punish people for succeeding, and succeeding is getting the move to Europe, and Dejuan Jones doesn't have that yet, so he's the only option in the MLS we got left. So Dejuan Jones is going to get called up. I do think it's deserved. He has been playing well, but I don't know, I just hate that part of this national team. Now going to defensive mid, Tyler Adams, Kellyn Acosta, pretty self-explanatory. Tyler Adams needs to be in the squad. He hasn't been playing the best this year, and man, hasn't been really working out at Leipzig as much as it could be, but he's still a good player. Kellyn Acosta, I don't know. I feel like he needs to be replaced long-term because he's only so good, and when you're only so good, like it'd be one thing if he was just, you put him into the game, he's a really solid defensive option. He even has the good set pieces. Like, I mean, they're not like special or anything, but it's an option that we have. But like, he's so inconsistent too, and I don't know. He seems to be good on the field. Like, from what I can tell, he's a leader. Like, we always talk about locker room guys. The only people I've seen like really be a leader on the field for this team are John Brooks, Weston McKennie, and Kellyn Acosta. And Acosta's the only guy available, so it's fine that he's here, but just talent-wise, I'd really like Tanner Tessman to at least get a look in the Nations League because he's a better player. Now moving on to the eights, we got Yunus Musah, Luca De La Torre, Gianluca Busio, Cristian Roldan, Sebastian Lletget. Musah, he's been playing very well for Valencia. He's really been breaking into the team. He's starting to get a lot more playing time, and man, I feel like next year's going to be his year where he really like shows himself, and the moves will come soon. But Musah's been looking really good. He's a very talented player. He might have helped us recruit Balogun from Arsenal, so that's really good there. And he's going to have a big window because we are missing most of McKennie, and he's been our best player. Luca De La Torre, after last window, he's got to stay in the team. He was one of our best players in that Honduras game, which isn't saying much, but like Honduras isn't that much of an opposition right now. But he looked really good, and he's looked very good basically every time he's played for this team. Like, I don't know. I was thinking about this, like, to people arguing that Luca De La Torre shouldn't be in the team, like, when you first saw him play against, I think it was Northern Ireland, at least since the pandemic, like, we opened things up after the pandemic. Like, that game that we played, like, I wasn't too sure about Luca De La Torre going on the field, but when he got on the ball, you're just like, oh, this guy has it. Like, this guy is good, and we need him in the team. And then we, like, didn't call him up. Like, we need Luca De La Torre back, so that's just all I have to say about that. Busio, he's got a minor injury. I think he'll be fine. I really want him to be in the team because he's one of the players with, he's one of the best technical players that we have in the entire field, and I feel like he's underrated defensively. I always compare him to Thiago defensively, where it's like he shouldn't be that good, but when you're watching him, you're like, man, he keeps on making interceptions. He's getting stuck in. He's not really as good of an athlete, so he doesn't make too many defensive contributions, but he's trying, and he's getting better, and I feel like people like are kind of not noticing just how impressive Busio has been. Like, there are a lot of guys like around Europe who are really taking a liking to Busio, and we need him in this team, and I feel like he can definitely impact us positively this World Cup qualifying window. Now on to Cristian Roldan, and I'll be honest, I don't want him to be here. I watched the Champions League last night. He looked very good in that game, but he's not good enough on this level. That's all I can really say. He hasn't impressed on a national team level, and honestly, even for his legacy, I feel like he shouldn't have been called up at all. And we think about like, oh man, what if we called him into the national team? Like he's a better what if, and Seattle fans still kind of treat him like a what if, like, oh, they got to get the best out of Roldan. No, we've tried building the team around him. It doesn't work. We've tried. It doesn't work. It's a failed experiment. We need to move on. But no, he knows the system or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, he's just not good enough for this level. Sebastian Lletget, I'll say what I've been saying about him. He's only really good when the game opens up and becomes end-to-end. When a game becomes end-to-end and it's an unpredictable... Yeah, the game is chaotic. Let's say that, because I can't speak today. When the game is chaotic, Sebastian Lletget looks pretty good, because he's dangerous in the final third. Like, I am not going to argue that. The problem is, when he's in the midfield, we don't dominate games. Period. It doesn't happen. I've checked every game that we've played with Sebastian Lletget since the pandemic ended. It is bad. He negatively infects the midfield so much. But if we play a certain way, he can show his skills. But at the same time, we shouldn't play that way. We should be able to dominate these teams. And if, let's say, we play Sebastian Lletget against Panama and we make the game chaotic, if a game's chaotic, we can lose, especially when we don't have our starting goalkeepers there. And we don't have our two best defenders. And there's a good chance Tyler Adams is suspended. Like, I don't want him on the field because I don't want to play like that. And if you're somebody who's like, oh, we got to play the old way where we just play hard-nosed defense, like, guys, come on. We didn't have a Pulisic back then. We didn't have a Musah, a Luca de la Torre. And I'm not even going through, like, we didn't have a Busio. Like, for real. We didn't have anybody with the skill level of Busio. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so that's my opinions on the eights. Sucks that Georgi Mihailovic will miss out. I think because he plays in Canada, we don't consider him like a true MLSer, which I don't know. Like, that's just an opinion I have. It's probably wrong. Like, but I don't know. That's something I think. Now going on to the wing position: Pulisic, Weah, Aaronson, Areola, Morris. Pulisic in really good form for Chelsea. I'm hoping that he can have a great window because he's looking really good right now. Weah's not in the best form, but he's shown a huge amount of talent when playing for America, so I think he's definitely somebody we got to get the best out of this tournament, or this window. Brendan Aaronson, he's been looking really good for RB Salzburg. 2 assists against Bayern Munich, which one of them was in the 1-1 draw. I think he gave them the lead. And even though it was in a 7-1 loss, like, he put guys on notice, and people are really taking a liking to Aaronson in Europe, and we need to get him into the team. Paul Areola is what it is. He's going to be in the squad. Like, he's a defensive winger because we need to play a defensive winger against any of these opposite. Like, who would we employ a defensive winger to stop? Like, name me the player. And Jordan Morris, like, this is something I've been thinking about him. So, like, I don't know, I think, like, a good amount of us have, like, played soccer, at least at the high school level, like, or maybe some of you guys were so good that you didn't even play high school, but, like, if you played soccer at a high school level, like, Jordan Morris is, like, a senior on the team. Like, he's just a little bit above everybody physically, but he's, like, not really better than anybody. He's just like a bit ahead of everybody else physically. And like not like so much that he's like, I don't know, like Adama Traore. He's not like that or anything, but he's just like a bit ahead of them. That's like what Jordan Morris is. He's like not even like that good. He's just like physically like a year ahead. I don't know. At this point, 2 knee injuries into his career, a failed stint at Swansea. Well, that was because of an injury, but let's be honest, a failed stint at Swansea, like, he's only so good and he shouldn't be in the squad anymore. Especially after doing terrible last window. And lastly, we have, can I even call it the 9? Because we probably won't even play them as strikers. Jesus Ferreira, Yazi Zardes, and Josh Sargent. I think Ricardo Pepi gets dropped. I really do. He's been out of form, and even though the USA team looks better with him in the team, I feel like we end up dropping him. Sargent's been in pretty good form, and I feel like Ferreira and Zardes have their place locked in at the moment. Jesus Ferreira, like, it's tough talking about him because it's like McKenzie, where I see the skill, I think he's a good player, and honestly, if we played him as a 10, I'd still like Brendan Aaronson and Giovanni Reyna ahead of him. But it's not like he's a bad player. Like, he's probably like, I wouldn't have him in my 23, but he'd probably be in my like top 30. And he's only going to get better. But as a striker, we need a goal scorer because we're not good enough that we can play with a false 9. I can't count on Pulisic, Weah, Aaronson, all of them to come up with the goals for us. I don't think we can realistically rely on that. So we need somebody who puts the ball in the back of the net, and Ferreira, that's not his game. So yeah, I wouldn't have him in the team at the moment. Next, Yazi Zardes. Listen, don't bully him, but he sucks. Like, at an international level, he's not good enough. And lastly, Josh Sargent, who I'm pretty excited about him. I'd have him in my team, even if it's coming off the bench. Like, he's been looking pretty good, and I would reward him for that form. And we are very limited at striker options at the moment, so I would have him in the team. He can even play out wide, but if we put him up front, like, it is going to be a little bit worrying because we don't have a striker in form besides PFOC, and something tells me PFOC won't be called up either. So, yeah, going into this window, like, the team we have, the team that I'm predicting, I'm not exactly confident, which maybe that's just because of Trinidad trauma, but like, we don't have our top goalkeepers, we don't have our best centerbacks. Dest and Robinson, they haven't exactly been solid defensively. As I mentioned before, I don't expect Tyler Adams to play every game of this World Cup qualifying cycle. Maybe we drop him against Mexico, or maybe get suspended for Panama or Costa Rica, but like, we're not going to be that good defensively, and we have skirted by on good defensive performances for a while, so I don't know. It could be bad. Hopefully it won't be. I'm expecting us to qualify. I think we will, but I'm nervous going into this. And I really did not expect me to be nervous going into the last window, back when this World Cup qualifying started. So I really have to talk about right now. See ya.